Yo guys, what is good? Welcome back on the Uncle Sharma channel. How are you guys doing? We are here to talk about the latest Inter news, a Christmas Eve stream. And yeah, as Joe has says, Merry Christmas Eve, everyone. If you celebrate, if you don't celebrate, still have a great day and great Christmas. And Eric here, greetings from Canada. What's up, Eric, as well in the house? Who else is in the house as well? Mo, yes, of course. Fresh cut, yes, literally an hour before the stream. Got rid of I changed up my style. I had the little more like I don't know who's got that hair, like maybe like a Gagliardini style. Now, yeah, gone back to kind of the Stefano Sensi, Alexis Sanchez style, fresh fade, of course. What's up, Mohammed? What's up, Joe? What's up, Eduardo? My brother, what's up? Happy holidays, beyond to you too. Mehdi from Casablanca, nice. I like the variety of people that we have in the streams. Who's my barber? It's a Kurdish guy actually. They say they're a Turkish barber, but they're actually when I asked them, they said they're from Kurdistan, so they're Kurdish. So yeah, they always sort me out. Joe from New York, nice. Bing bong. Yeah, actually, let me know, everyone, where is everyone tuning in from? That's a good before we start off. It's nice to I know that Mo is tuning in from Texas somewhere, right, Mo? What's up, Max? Where are you tuning in from? Let me know, guys. From Croatia. Nice, very nice. We've got plenty of Croatians or like Balkans in the team, so it's good to get some Balkan representation in the house. Nice. Forza Inter, Anas. Yes, where are you from? Anas, Turk. I'm guessing maybe Turkey. Bjorn, Sweden. Yeah. I remember you from Svenska. There's hella Kurdish. Yeah, there is. There's hella Kurdish. Are you from Leicester, then, Mohammed? If you know about the Kurdish representation in Leicester, Miami. Nice. I like that. Granby Street. No, it's near. Actually, don't know what the road is called, but it's kind of near. It's like West Leicester, Foss Road, I think it's called. Yeah, no, I don't go into town. Houston, Texas, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. Houston. Baltimore, okay. Maryland. Wagwan, my G, yes, from Jamaica. Nice, man. And this is nice little worldwide representation. This week is going to feel worse than an international break. I know, because we haven't even got the international break in between. Like, we don't actually have the national teams to watch either. So it's literally just no football. But, Premier League is still going on. Well, we'll see how many matches in the Premier League are going ahead. But yeah, that's going to be at least we've got the Premier League. I still watch quite a bit of Premier League, so that will keep me entertained. But yeah, I'm gonna miss Inter. It's like it's interesting. Like usually, it depends how it finishes, but usually I'm quite glad when there's a break because I'm happy with the players that they get a little bit of a break, but also because sometimes watching Inter at times can be painful. But over the last year or so, we've got used to this Inter team kind of spoiling us, and every time there is a break, we're kind of like, no, we want more. And yeah, this Inter team at the moment is like, I hope we've not peaked too early, but we're like, we're looking amazing at the moment. We're playing some great football, so it's a shame that we not get to see this team continuing. I think one of the players mentioned, I think it was Bastoni. Bastoni said that it's a shame that there's a break now because we feel like we're, at our best right now. So I just hope we haven't like peaked too early, but I think we'll be all right. I'm sure Inzaghi and everyone will manage. Another one from Canada. Nice. Another Canadian in the house. Maple syrup merchant. Hashraf, not Hakimi, but what's up? Rami Sultan from Toronto. Nice. Another Canada representation in the house. Syrian from Turkish grandfather. I like it. Nice little mix. Oh, near Vicky Park. Nice. Yeah. Not too far. Just the other side of town. What's up, my friend? Get to watch Avellino in Serie C. Jeez, where do you even watch them? Like, where do you get like some streams for those guys that they like on some special channel or on YouTube from Burton? Yeah, from Burton, not too far from Leicester as well. It's like just half an hour, 40-minute drive from Leicester, I believe. Burton, not too far. But yeah, guys, thank you everyone that's joined in. It's actually more people than I expected. I thought, because it's Christmas Eve, maybe people are doing stuff or with the family or doing shopping. I don't know what people what people do, but I wasn't expecting much of a turnout. So nice little turnout, and we can get into the news. Well, actually, guys, guys comment. I'll give you the power today. Where do you guys want to start off? So we've got either the Inzaghi interview to get through, or we've got the Skriniar interview to get through, or we got the Dimarco renewal. Those are my three main topics for today. Then we can do like three, whatever questions you guys have about the transfer market, maybe and stuff like that. But those three, pick one of those three: Dimarco, Skriniar, or Inzaghi. Let me know in the comments, and I'll pick, according to where you guys say. Joel in the house, what's up? 11 Sports Italia. Oh, okay, nice. That's nice that they actually cover lower leagues as well. Pretty good. From Doha, Qatar. Nice. Yeah, speaking of Qatar, it would be interesting if Italy actually managed to make it to the World Cup in Qatar. It's going to be very tricky. Who's got a fresher fade, Shams or Frank? Yeah, definitely me, bro. Like Frank wasn't even Frank Kessie didn't even get a fade. It was just basic. He was a full zero. He just went full, bold. This is a actual fade. You do have some links for Serie B and Serie C sometimes. Yeah, I do tune in sometimes, but it's just like, the pictures and the quality of the videos and the camera angles is so bad sometimes. It's just hard to like stay for the whole match. I just tune in for a little bit when I see and I find like a little link. But yeah. Samir says Dimarco first. Joe says Limone. Max says Limone. Bjorn says Limone. Eduardo says Dimarco. Ruslan Malinovsky says Lemon-Ball. And I'm guessing you don't know what Lemon-Ball is, but it's the nickname that we've given to Inzaghi because he's called Limone, which means lemon in English. And Lemon-Ball is just that's what we call Inzaghi's football, or as I like to call it when it's at its peak, Limoncello ball. Can I be the president? Yeah, you can be the president of Dimarco FC. We need a president of Dimarco FC, bro, because it's weird. I'm actually been surprised with Dimarco. He does have a lot of doubters within the fan base because I thought usually with the Primavera, these guys usually have like this subset of like Primavera merchants that will defend the Primavera guy even if he's trash. Like, with Pinamonti, or I wouldn't say Pinamonti's trash, but even if he's not that great. But with Dimarco, even though I feel like he's a good player, it feels like people are not particularly convinced by him. So yeah, Gerald, you can be definitely the president of Dimarco FC because I think the boy needs some defending because I feel like he's surprisingly attacked more than I would expect. Okay, everyone's voted. Sorry, Eduardo and and Samir. Everyone seems to be voting first for Inzaghi's interview, so we'll get to that. Mate, what's up, Future Hendrix? The Primavera cult. Yeah, it definitely is a cult, but it doesn't have much power over the last decade or so because the Primavera just hasn't given us much to actually foam over. Future Hendrix, another Dimarco fan in here. Good. We'll cover it off in a minute. But I'll start off. And actually, by the way, guys, as you can see, we're back to the old setup now. My laptop, my Dell XPS is finally back up under working. It's been a very frustrating time, so I appreciate everyone that's waited out. I know the camera quality has been awful because I used that old ass laptop and it was struggling to even it was laggy and I couldn't even share my screen and stuff. So today I'll be able to share my screen. I'll be able to bring things up, and it should be not a issue anymore. So yeah, I appreciate you guys that all waited out, especially since I've opened the channel membership. I felt bad that I feel like I want to keep the quality up anyway. But if you are contributing, you feel like you should be contributing to something that's providing you with quality. So I apologize for the quality over the last month or so, but also thank you for your patience. Why are you not a member anymore? I'm not sure, bro. I don't know. YouTube's maybe systems messed up. I don't know. I'll double check if there's like something on the system that shows if you're in or not. Yeah, remind me afterwards to check. It's a Christmas miracle. Yeah, actually my laptop's been fixed for a while. But the fact is that it's because it's a company laptop. It was reset and they had to redo all the settings and all the permission for the mic. So I think that was because of when I remember the other day I tried to go live and there was no sound. Is because I had to get the IT to open the settings so I can actually allow my browsers to accept, audio, webcam, all that kind of stuff. So it's just painful, but I hope that we're back to the normal service. And I'm also buying a new webcam. Thanks to the channel member contributions, I'll be buying a webcam. So hopefully that will be increasing the because the webcam on this laptop is actually low, so I'm actually always looking down to you guys, which is weird. It's such a bad webcam placement. It's a good laptop, but the webcam placement is awful. But if I get a webcam, then I can put it above the laptop and I'll be able to look at you guys straight in your face rather than down. So little improvements, but hopefully that it makes a difference. Gabriel's going to help his mom wash the dishes. You can just rewind back, bro. Don't worry. We don't. This is the beauty of a live stream. Even though it's live, you can just go a couple of minutes back and you know watch the bits that you want, or you just pick up where we are and then go watch it afterwards. Payment pause lymph. Oh, that might be it. Yeah, with the credit card and stuff like that. Sometimes it happens, but appreciate you, Future Hendrix. Chillo, also from Toronto. Nice. Shout out to Brampton. Yay, Brampton in the house. Of course, Brampton is the hotspot of Punjabis. If you know the region where I'm from in India, Punjab, that's where all the Bramptonites are from usually. So it's an interesting little area. And one of my aunties actually lived there. So one day I'll be visiting Toronto and Brampton one day because I have to. Making them posture gains. No, Keston, you're not late. I'm just about to get into Limone-Ball, actually. I've been waffling on for a little bit. It's 12 minutes and actually haven't covered anything yet. But yeah, it's we're not a news channel here. We can have a little chat with the subscribers. This is what it's all about. So yeah, let me share my screen with you guys and we can get into it. So let's hope this works. Haven't done it for a little while now. Which one shall we? Yes. So using sempreinter.com as usual, guys. They are usually the best ones when it comes to being able to translate news up to date, straight away on the same day as the news comes out in Italy. Inzaghi released a long interview on Gazzetta dello Sport in Italy, which it seemed like it's a longer interview and it seemed quite relaxed. I've seen images of it. It seems to be, not like the press conferences where he just kind of answers and gives like politically correct answers or kind of diplomatic answers. It seems like he opened up a little bit here. He spoke his mind a little bit. So it's a really interesting interview. So we'll get into it. And it seems to start off straight away with a little bit of a bang. So he's first of all, he says, I need Brozovic to hurry up and sign. Like he's already putting pressure on Brozovic. Like we all are, all the fans, we've been putting pressure on Brozovic and the club. Like, make sure you sign this guy, sign it, sign the thing, sign the contract. And he says here, first of all, he needs to hurry up. He's an extraordinary player on the pitch. He's been making Inter's fortunes for years. And the same goes for Perisic. And yeah, even the Perisic, as we've been saying, if there's possibility of Perisic staying and renewing, make sure that happens. So I like that he went public with it. So if Brozovic doesn't sign now, it's like it looks even worse on it looks worse on Brozovic because the coach wants you to sign, the club wants you to sign. Is it just you and your money and your monetary demands that's stopping the deal? So I like that. I like that little bit of extra pressure that he put on Brozovic and Perisic there. And then also, as I said, he opened up. Like usually when they're asked about the transfer market, coaches, so he just predict, they'll say like, oh, speak to Piero Ausili about the market. This is not my area to cover. But he praised and we talked about this player a lot on the channel in the summer because I was convinced he was going to join us in the summer, but I got it wrong because Cagliari just didn't want to do us favor. But yeah, he praised Nahita Nandez, and he says Nandez is an interesting player, a flexible profile. He could be good. I don't want to talk about names. The translation is a bit too literal, but the club is vigilant. If there is an opportunity, you'll be right to take it. So that's very interesting. The fact that he's literally, I don't know if he was directly asked about Nandez or they asked him, who are you looking potentially in January to bring in? And you guys have been asking me on the channel, and I've told you guys, Nandez. If there's going to be something, it's going to be Nandez, because as Inzaghi himself is here, that is not just me now, is Inzaghi himself saying that he's flexible. The ability to bring someone in like Nandez who can do multiple things. He can be centre midfielder. He can be wing back. He can be, even a defensive midfielder if needed. It's such a rare thing to find, and that's why I think he's really pushing for Nathan Nandez. And yeah, exactly, Chilo. Interesting comments from Inzaghi regarding Nandez. Curious to see what his best position. I still think Nandez is a mezzala, a right centre mid or a left centre mid. He is a Barella backup in my mind. But there's the versatility is, as Inzaghi said, really, really important. We've seen now that with Darmian's injured, it means that only Dumfries or D'Ambrosio can cover there. But it just gives you that flexibility with so many games when we play so many games to have that guy, that jolly as they like to call it in Italy, who can play um, multiple positions. So really, really interesting that he really mentioned him by name. Oh, appreciate you, Future Hendrix. I don't know why he's making out as if you're a new channel member because you've already been a channel member. But at least I know in my heart what you really are to the channel. Let's get back onto the article. There is so moving on from Nandez. Afterwards, he talked about Inter now sit top of the Serie A table with a 4-point lead over Serie A rivals AC Milan. But Inzaghi claims he had the confidence in the team since July. And I like this extract as well. And you could see this, we talked about this even back then when we had that shaky start, you could say. I was calm even in October, he said. Even when we were far from the summit, I'll say more. We had already believed in it since July, from the day of the first training session. And that's really, really good. He came in thinking that this is, he didn't think about, let's just try to get top 4. He was looking for the summit. He was looking for right to the very top, which is, says a lot about his mentality and personality. And especially with all the things that happened in the summer, let's not forget. Now, as he says, and I like this bit as well, a little bit, firing back and, kind of at the doubters. Now it suits many to say that we are the favorites, that we are a battleship. Again, not great direct translation from Italian. Either mean like corazzata, it means like the favorites, the overwhelming favorites. But I knew it even then that we could have done well. So it's similar to kind of the Conte famous quote that he didn't say it. He said it when he was at Siena, I think it was, or somewhere else. It was like, "Non salite sul carro." Is that don't jump on the bandwagon. So he's saying, it was easy to say that, oh yeah, these guys are going to struggle to win again, but now it's very easy to say, oh yeah, these guys are easily the favorites. So I like that Inzaghi's showing a little bit of that, bite as well, that I feel like he hasn't really shown since he's coming to Inter. He's been very low key since he's come to Inter. Which also brings me on to a point that he, one of the things I didn't like about Inzaghi before he joined, King Darius says Limone being a bully in the interview. Yeah, one of the things I didn't like about Inzaghi before he joined, and I talked about this when we signed him, is his personality or his interviews. Especially when you compare him to the last few coaches we've had in terms of Spalletti, Conte, maybe not so much, but they were charismatic characters in terms of in front of a camera. Spalletti more in a poetic or like, mumbo jumbo kind of way, and Conte in a more cutthroat, get straight to the point type of way. Whereas Inzaghi, he had this reputation, quite rightly, of being kind of a moany crybaby at times at Lazio. Just not being a very commanding presence. Like even now when he speaks on camera, you don't really get too much of a. Like I watch every single interview of Inzaghi's, but I never really feel like he's given me anything kind of insightful or interesting most of the time. He just kind of says the standard stuff. So he's good in terms of the club would love, especially coming from Conte, where the club is probably looking at every Conte interview like, oh, I hope he doesn't flame us once again. So for the club's in the club's view, Inzaghi's perfect. But from fans, where sometimes we want to get a little bit more or have some fun, or maybe see some interesting, see the personality coming through. But I think in this interview, you can see that personality coming through, for sure. And he has improved on that. As I said, I wasn't a fan of Inzaghi's personality before in front of camera. He used to moan about referees' decisions a lot when he was at Lazio. But now, since he's come to Inter, I don't remember him moaning even once. Even when the Dimarco thing happened in the Lazio game where he went down and Lazio didn't give the ball back. I know he did mention that, maybe that wasn't particularly, sporting behavior, but he didn't moan about it or cry about it. And he hasn't, from my memory, he hasn't cried about anything since he come to Inter. So fair play to him. I think he knows that big club, you have to behave a little bit differently. And many have held up the 3-2 win, going back to the interview now, the 3-2 win over Napoli earlier this season as the turning point in the campaign. But Inzaghi feels that even if the game was a draw, they would still found this form. He says that the win over Napoli gave great awareness, but from what I saw in training, even if it ended 3-3, it wouldn't have changed much. The road was drawn. Milan and Napoli are the ones that have changed less. Actually, let me go back to this. So I agree with that. And I was saying this, like, when you look back at I agree with this to a certain extent, because I felt like that Napoli one, we had to get the win because the performances were there. Against Juventus, the performance that was there. Against Atalanta, the performance was there. All the big matches against Real Madrid, the performance was there. But until that Napoli match, where the performance was there, but then finally the result was there. So I feel like that win did take us to the next level. But I know what Inzaghi means as well. It doesn't mean that if we didn't win, Inter would have been, not at this level. It just gives you that extra confidence, doesn't it, the win? And then also he makes good points like Milan and Napoli. And these are, I talked about this in my season preview video where, Milan and Napoli are the teams that have changed the less. Like they haven't had to sell any star players. Napoli have literally kept the exact same team as last season. But they didn't really sign anyone, but they didn't sell anyone. In Milan, they didn't sell anyone apart from Hakan and Donnarumma, but they replaced them and also added on top of that. So those teams really, that's why they are the big threats at the minute. But he also, apart from Atalanta, interestingly, one second, let me just take a swig of the water and feel like my throat's getting a bit dry there. Interestingly, he still put some Juve in this as well, even though Juve have been, pretty bad this season. I'm sure there's another bit of the interview where he talks about Juve again. But yeah, they said they're an opponent to be taken into consideration. It's an unpredictable championship. We're at a good point, but what we have done so far must only be a stimulus to start again after the break. Again, I love that. Just using everything as a, stimulus to start again after the break, not resting on the laurels. But yeah, the Juve point is, he's still, I think it's just one of those things like mentally, you just can't, even though Juve, they're not going to be really realistically the title challengers at the moment as this thing stands. But, it's Juve is still Juve. And I think that even for me, like I always look out for the Juve result just to see like and where they are in the table. That's the one, it's just the team that you just always keep your eye on. And again, they're only like 4 points or 3 points, 4 points behind top four. And it feels like they should be way behind, but actually they're right there and they still could save the season really. And then he also talked about the defeat against Lazio. And I also really like this excerpt as well. He says, I have understood this in recent years. After a defeat, you sometimes come out stronger. We worked a lot on preventive scoring in keeping the team tight. Again, the translation here is probably a bit too literal, but they worked on improving the balance and improving the team balance as we've talked about throughout the beginning of the season. And we talked about this as well, like when we lost against Lazio, that's our only loss in Serie A this season, and sometimes you need that. And I think like Inzaghi probably feels like the team and himself probably just needed that little wake up call that you can't just switch off like we did after 60 minutes against Lazio, and some things needed to be changed, and they did those. So that's really good. Let me get some of your comments. Nick's Knox in the house. What's up, brother? Another channel member. Appreciate you. Big Facts had a lot of people saying that we wouldn't make top four. Yeah, imagine like, bro, the amount of people that said we wouldn't even make top four is so funny. Like, so many predictions of Inter finishing 5th, 6th, like hilarious. Like these guys literally thought we built our success on Conte's head and Lukaku's head or something. Now everyone says we're favorites and are expecting us to win. Exactly. Now they're trying to put extra pressure on us, saying that if we don't win, it's a massive failure. Which to an extent is true. If we don't win Scudetto this season, it is a failure. But it's not. We're not like these we can't go from like these guys that are just about going to make top four to overwhelming favorites. So there needs to be a bit of balance in that. Either we buy another centimeter or we don't buy it. Or yeah, we'll talk about that later when we talk about the transfer rumors. So make sure you guys comment again when we do the transfer rumors. Versus Liverpool, we may not have Barella and Vecino's crying about minutes. Simone is not giving him much, and to be honest, since he's deadwood to the squad and love him, he proves, but doubt it. Yeah, Saincy, you guys know I'm a big Saincy fan. I'm a big Saincy fan, but it's just completely unreliable. Excuse me, he's completely unreliable, and yeah, deadwood is maybe a bit too harsh, but he's almost useless. So it's true. So he needs minutes for sure, and he needs to get them somewhere else. He's not going to get them at Inter. He needs to be fit for a while. Sharif in the house as well. What's up, brother? Thank you for joining. I'll go back to the Inzaghi interview. Here we go. Speaking of the Liverpool fixture, as Gerald just mentioned, in my head, Liverpool was the first. Like me, he put Liverpool in that kind of tier where he wanted to avoid them at all costs with Man City. It will be very hard, but also a beautiful challenge to play. These teams always give you the idea that you can play it, that you can score against them, and instead they punish you. But we'll get there already. Yeah, that's the thing with Liverpool. Especially when I watched Liverpool against Spurs the other day, I got that game gave me the confidence that yes, we can beat these teams. And within the match as well, like even against Real Madrid, we felt at times like, wow, we can beat these guys. Like, let's just go for it. But then one moment of special brilliance from like a Toni Kroos or a Modric or someone, and that's it. The game is gone. Like a goal from outside the box, and that's it. Your whole hard work is done. And that's what these teams have. You just have, I can imagine us, putting Liverpool down, like, having 15, 20 minutes of real good pressure. And then, they counter us 1 minute, Sane and, Mane and Salah. I combined the two names there. I combined Mane and Salah's name into Sane there. Mane and Salah on the counter, and Jota as well. Like, they just kill you on the counter in the space of 5 seconds. And then, yeah, you're 1-0 down before you know it. And now this is the funniest bit. I'm glad that Nick Knox is there because he's a Gagliardini FC, president. So they asked him, Inter's depth has been impressive, and they asked him, who are the players that have surprised you the most? And he didn't go for, Sanchez, Perisic, or any, one of the bigger names. He went for, if I have to say a name, I reply Ranocchia. Because he talked about, and they didn't include it there, but he talked about when De Vrij has been missing, Ranocchia has stepped in perfectly, which is completely 100% true. But for us, for Inter fans now, Ranocchia is not a surprise anymore. We know since the Conte days, since Conte came in, that Ranocchia has been a reliable replacement for De Vrij. But for Inzaghi as an outsider, it was a surprise. And he talked about how Ranocchia stepping in with the other when the injuries came is great, but he also talking about the others. And then he talked about Gagliardini, Bobby Gags, Gagliardino. He says, when I watch him in training, I understood why he found so much space with Spalletti first and then with Conte, which is almost sounds like a half kind of like firing shots at Gagliardini, saying that maybe he thought that he was trash before he came to Inter, and then he watched him and he was like, oh, okay, this is why he got so many minutes and this is why he's such a liked player. But yeah, credit to Gagliardini again, as usual, just a reliable, substitute player. And I'm sure Nick Knox over there is having a little party now that Inzaghi mentioned him by name as a nice surprise. And yeah, in general, he talked about when I turn around on the bench, I can choose with my eyes closed. And I don't know if he means that again as a joke, is like choosing with my eyes closed because he doesn't want to look at Gagliardini or Vecinos and these guys on the bench. But nah, fair play. And this is why, Inzaghi he's keeping, even the substitutes engaged and like, hungry. And they know that he values them. And that's a good sign of a good coach that, it's not just about the starting 11. It's about all the whole team. Paul Grant Jr., Merry Christmas Eve and Happy Holidays to all. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for joining in. Erdian says, I feel safe when the enemies are pressing. Bros are Skriniar and the ones holding the ball. Of course, bro, they are ballers. They are not concerned about your pressing. Max says Limone not getting the credit he deserves. All the major football shows I watched predicted Juve or Milan to win the title before the season. Yeah, exactly. That's what we're talking about. As soon as Conte and Lukaku left, everyone was panicking. And I'll admit, even myself, I was more just kind of the shock that these guys are dismantling the team. Until the transfer market finished, I was negative about the team. But as soon as we gave Inzaghi, Hakan, then we gave him Dzeko, then we gave him Tucu Correa. Then after that, I was like, yeah, that's it. We're going for the Scudetto again. So let's not. Within our own fan base, there was doubts as well. So let's not. I don't want to kill the people that predicted Inter not to win it too much. But at the same time, I agree that the consensus seemed to be like, oh, these guys are losing themselves. These guys are gonna like drop out top four. Those were if you said Inter are gonna drop out the top four, you deserve some slander for sure. Tottenham's preview of a 3-5-2 against Liverpool, that counter-attack from Liverpool. Yeah, exactly. That was kind of like a perfect, like a training exercise from Conte's boys to give us like what a 3-5-2 against Liverpool would look like. So yeah, I did watch that match with some interest. I also think Ranocchia is a locker room guy. Yeah, of course. I mean, let's not forget that Ranocchia was a captain at Inter. I know we forget now, but in the banter era, after Zanetti, Cambiasso, all those guys left, he was the captain until they gave it to Icardi afterwards. And he's a veteran and a leader. He's definitely one of those locker room leaders. Maybe you don't see it on the pitch because we don't see Ranocchia on the pitch, but for sure the guy has been here the longest time. Him and Andanovic now have been here the longest time. They're absolute, they're part of the furniture of Appiano Gentile. So they deserve, he deserves a lot of credit for sticking around and having the mental fortitude to stick around. Tommy in the house says, oh, these impromptu streams be catching me offside. Yeah, apologies, bro. But, today I just felt it. I wasn't going to do it, but I was just like, lots of news coming out. So I feel like I needed to do it. Nick Snows, I can't believe, honestly, I'm having a little dance. Much respect to Inzaghi for appreciating Lord Gags. Yep. Yes, sir. Fresh trim for Christmas. Yeah, all the places are going to close. So I thought I'd just get I'll get my trim before the Christmas holidays. If Liverpool play without Van Dijk, it's game over. They can't sustain the high line without him. Yeah, that's one thing though, Gabriel. I'm not sure we really have the speed to exploit that. Like Lautaro and Sanchez, two of those guys, they're not. I don't think they're fast at all, especially in open space. Correa, maybe yes. Dumfries, of course. And then if they don't have Van Dijk, for sure, when you miss one of the best defenders, you definitely miss. But that Konate guy, he looks really good. He's another very athletic centre back. Him and Matip as well can cover ground. Joe Gomez when he's fit as well. They've got in that centre back department, they're quite deep. But yeah, of course, if Van Dijk's missing, I think Fabinho is the key. I feel like they're very vulnerable in the middle if Fabinho's missing. And of course, yeah, if Van Dijk's missing. Kolarov is still being paid for warming the match worst defender in Serie A. Hey man, he's just there. He's just there. He's catching slander not for free. He's getting paid handsomely to catch the contract should be terminated. Yeah, but to be fair play to him, they offered him the renewal at half the wage that he was earning before. So he did take a big pay cut, but it looks like it might be now from the rumors I'm hearing. He might leave in January. He might be allowed to go somewhere where he actually can get some minutes. But yeah, let's go back to the interview so I can finish it. The Limone interview. What's the other bits? He talked about the Lukaku and Hakimi bit as well. He said when we understood that Lukaku was going to leave, the same evening, he said, I spoke to Marotta and Ozilio and I mentioned Dzeko's name to them and they replied, you open a door with us. We have, as we know, we've been linked with Dzeko for like 2 seasons now. So they were already like probably on the lookout for Dzeko. He's mentioned Satriano, says, let's see with Satriano. The other 4 forwards, I would like to keep them all. And it's hard to rotate, as he said. Like we know, he's spoiled for choice, man. Like Inzaghi is really spoiled for choice up front. Like we have a really good quartet, then plus a decent talent like Satriano in behind as the 5th. Like that's a really good amount of choice that he has. And then in terms of January, he says last summer the goal was to secure the club in terms of selling Lukaku and Hakimi, making that 180 million to secure the club's finances. Now we have to try to see all the teams are strengthened. Basically, my priority would be to keep everyone, and then yeah, that's for me the same. I think the most important thing is to keep everyone, and then if something can happen, if someone can leave and you can replace them, then let's make it happen. But I don't think there's a particular. I'm not too fussed if we don't bring in anyone in January, personally speaking, especially if the finances are looking as they are. I don't think we can bring someone of real quality unless he's on a loan. And then finished off, he also talked about briefly on Steven Zhang. He says we speak weekly via text, which is good to hear. He's not here with us physically, but I feel him very close to the Inter family. We have a great relation. He's thousands and thousands of miles away, but it's good to know that in Steven Zhang is still in contact with Inzaghi on a regular basis. I wonder how they actually communicate, because I don't know if Inzaghi speaks English or Steven Zhang learned some basic Italian or is a Google Translate, but it's good to know that there's regular contact with Steven Zhang. He's not completely gone off the face of the earth. He's still, involved in Inter actively. Kolarov should retire. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely, his grey hair do indicate, and his performances on the pitch do indicate that he should probably retire. But I reckon he would be a good coach, Kolarov. I wouldn't be surprised to see him becoming a decent level coach. Limone-Ball 8 out of 10 this season. Yes, Ricky Buzz, I saw your tweet. I think in your tweet you gave him 8.5 out of 10. So are you taking the half point off for Inter now? Yuha in the house says we finished top on the annual Serie A table with 104 points, 10 more than Atalanta. We also scored the most, conceded the least in Serie A this year. Yeah, exactly. In the calendar year, we've conceded less, but in the season, we've conceded a little bit more than Napoli, but we'll catch them up, I'm sure. Do I think Lukaku will return to Inter one day, or will it be too late then? I think it'll be, yeah, I would too. The problem with Lukaku now is once you go to the Premier League, and once now he was already earning the highest in our team, but now he's gone and earning even more. So it's hard once the wages go up to such a high level, and I don't think Italian teams will be able to afford those types of wages for a little while. I think it'll take a year or 2 years for the finances to recover to previous levels at minimum. So I just don't see that happening, to be honest. Yeah. And Eduardo says he, as a fan, doesn't want to bring Lukaku back anyway. So, yeah, and I feel like with Lukaku, once he gets to 30 and above, like the whole thing about Lukaku is not just the strength, but the real bonus about Lukaku is that pace on the counter attack and the ability to take on people and create those counter attacking abilities. But after he's 28 now, in a couple of years, I don't want Lukaku without being in that peak physical athletic condition, because that's really what Lukaku's unique selling point is, because he's got the goal scoring, but then he's got this all-round athlete ability of just being able to dominate players, and I don't see that him being able to keep that with his very big physique. I think it's going to be hard for him to maintain that level when he gets to the later stages of his career. He's going to get heavier, slower. I don't see them. I think now, if you get Lukaku now, if you try to get the best out of him now, this is where you're going to get the best out of Lukaku. And Tommy's on the same wavelength as me in terms of transfers. He's not hung up on them, and I think that's the same. If you bring someone, then great. If not, we move. Exactly. I completely agree. It was a nice run with Lukaku, but I don't see him back. Yeah, exactly. Deepak, what's up? Yeah, my name is Rahul. Yes, I am Indian, if you were wondering. Oh, yeah, my ancestry, my parents, yes, are Indian. But yeah, we can move on to the next topic that I want to talk about. The Limone interview is done. And talking about my boy here, future Inter captain, hopefully, Milan Skriniar. He released another interesting interview. Tommy says, you're tripping, I'll take Ron back. Yeah, if we're talking about now, then yeah, as I said, like if you take him back now, then we could, but then we physically, financially can't take Lukaku back now, because he's earning like, he went from our 7.5 million net to around 12 now. So he's completely out of our range. So it's more about being actually be able to afford it as well. So right now we can't bring him back, and then in 2 years, as I said, I don't think he's worth bringing back by then, unless he's changed his game in some way. But I don't know how effective he would be, in a different way of playing. But yeah, let's move on to Milan Skriniar's interview, which is another interesting interview. Again, using Sempre Inter's translation, he reiterates, I think we are Scudetto favourites this year. We can hurt Liverpool. So strong words. He spoke to Corriere della Sera. So first question he was asked around, the title on the last season. The Conte admitted that he thinks they are favourites now to repeat the achievement again. He said, I was hoping for it. I knew I was coming to an historic club, even if it was difficult. He came when Spalletti was there and he wanted to aim higher. So he came from Sampdoria, a mid-table Italian club, to Inter, who are aiming for top four, starting to aim for top four. So, changing, slowly getting to higher levels. And then, of course, they asked him about the three-man. We've talked about this in the past. It was a difficult adaptation for him when he changed to the three-man defense. He never played it before. I was struggling. Conte was good. He explained to me the movements, even with videos. And we know how maniacal Conte is, a hammer, as Skriniar says here. He instills the winning mentality in you. You will assimilate it even if you don't want to. And yeah, that is Conte, really, isn't it? And he talked about the differences between Conte and Inzaghi. And you can see that, other players have talked about this as well. Inzaghi is more like a teammate. I can't remember who was it who talked about it, that he was like a big brother. Was it Correa or Lautaro? Or someone said that, Inzaghi is like a big brother in the team. And Skriniar here says he's like a teammate. So along the same lines, he understands us. He talks to us, jokes and laughs with us. He's joking, yes, but more. Oh, yeah. Here they were talking about Conte's time. So when Conte was there, we used to joke, but really only when we already won the Scudetto. Remember that last few weeks of the season where everyone was just like, every video that was coming out of training was some sort of skit. Are we more free with Inzaghi? He says, yeah, I agree. Other players have spoken about how there's more freedom, there's more rotation. You can see it on the pitch. As a third defender, I am also allowed to be in attack. We are favourites for this year, I think so. So yeah, nothing new about this new, being able to coming into attack, but we've seen that Inzaghi is letting the centre backs to be in the box, at times, even more than the midfielders at times, which is an interesting tactic. Then he talked about, going out in the Champions League helped them to win the Scudetto and all that kind of stuff. As we know, it is an advantage at the end of the day, as I said, with Milan. That's why I still think Milan are the biggest threat to Inter in the Scudetto race, because you get more time to work on tactics. You don't play back and forth, but more with your head. Here he's talking about in Serie A, you work more on tactics. You don't play back and forth. Yeah, as you know, the English go, go, go. We played well with Real Madrid, and they scored with a 25-meter shot. As you said, you just have to capitalize on the opportunities, because these teams punish you. He believes in Inter against Liverpool, we can hurt them, especially at San Siro. I agree. We are ready, even if the calendar of January and February is very tough, as we know, is a super, super difficult period. That those 3-4 weeks is going to be crazy. Inzaghi is really going to have to earn his money then. I would like to play all the time. Then I don't have the strength to play 60 games a year. So they in that bit, they asked him about, how busy the calendar is, which is ridiculous. And then this bit, they asked him about, in the past, there was the rumors that he might leave, when Spurs wanted him, things like that. And he says, a new experience abroad is never bad, but I'm fine at Inter and in Milan. I don't think about going away. I'm happy, but you never know what's going on. We're not talking about the renewal. I have a contract until 2023. So yeah, nothing controversial there. Completely fine to say that, you can think about potential moves abroad. But we've seen with Skriniar what he's done in the past. He's shown us, in facts, that he's wants to be at Inter. Then they asked him about the hardest strikers that he's faced, or he feels like the hardest strikers to play against. He says Lukaku, but luckily he only played against him in training. He's big, fast, complete, and there isn't another one that is that fast or strong. And then he also mentioned Dzeko. He can defend the ball really well. Suarez and Benzema, of course. I think in that they said you only mentioned your teammates here, so then he mentioned Suarez and Benzema. And an interesting bit, he says to improve, he always watches, he studies, he watches videos, talks to his teammates to understand the movements of the opponent's feints. But sometimes, they're so good that they can always, beat you anyway. So, nice little, insight into how Skriniar improves. And you can tell, like, the guy has improved over the years at Inter. So you can see there's some work going on behind the scenes. And then finally, they asked him about the Christian Eriksen incident. Yeah, we all were quite shocked by it, and so was he. He says he was at the Euros. We watched on TV. The commentary spoke in Russia, so he wasn't understanding anything. And I saw a player on the ground, and obviously, he must have been quite affected by it, being his teammate. Then I was reassured by Inter. We do a wonderful job. We are paid well, but you live only once. I thought a lot about it, but I don't want to think about such things that could happen to me. Yeah, of course, you don't want to think about such bad incidents. But yeah, it was an interesting interview from Skriniar, and as I said, he's my future capitano. Skriniar said we talked about Conte. Conte made them winners. Inzaghi made them attack more, switching of positions. Exactly. Actually, yeah. Let me see if I can bring that up on screen. Hopefully, I don't get copyrighted. But there's a tweet. There's a great tweet by someone who edited a video of a moment of play from Inter playing out from the back when Bastoni was in the attacking position. You guys might have seen. So yeah, you can see here the rotation that we're talking about, how smooth and fluid the movement is. So you can see here, this is Hakan right here, and this is Brozovic, I believe. So you see they will be the deepest players in a minute. They won't be the center back. So you see here Brozovic, Vidal here. Look where Skriniar has gone, and De Vrij is over there. Torino are pressing very high, but they're not pressing Handanovic. So Inter have to go long here because they're positioned really well. But Inter try to invite them. We're like, come on, come and press us, So look, Brozovic is the deepest player right now, and Hakan is there, and De Vrij is there, Skriniar is there, Vidal is there. Look at that, and now the surprise. There's a 5v5 created here, and look, Handanovic now, great ball, Skriniar, De Vrij here, boom, and look who's up here, Bastoni. Perisic wins the header, and now Bastoni is in through and goal. He should have passed it to Dumfries here, but I think he was just so surprised that he found himself in that situation. But that is the perfect way to sum up this what we're talking about here, this switching of positions. It doesn't mean, I know people like think that because the center back is attacking now, it means that we're exposed. But no, Inzaghi, the players talked about this. If they see Bastoni has gone up, Hakan he's seen that Bastoni's gone up, so now he's covering for him, or Brozovic has seen that he's gone up. So it's a rotational position. It's not just pushing the centre back up and being like the strikers are up, the midfielders are up, and the centre back is up. It's not everyone's up at the same time. It's like moving around and being fluid. It's really nice to see, and there's a nice implementation from Inzaghi that he's not just using what Conte did with the memorized move. He's added his own twist to this team, and this is what we call Limone-Ball or Limoncello-Ball. Exactly. Limone is a mastermind, no more rigid football like last season. I mean, I don't want to, criticize, like, I don't like how now Conte's football is seen as like this prehistoric dinosaur football. What Conte added in terms of those memorized moves, they're still there. The players still go to those. It's still built within. Like, they know, like, in the back of their head, like, they know that like Brozovic will know that Skriniar at one point will move up and he can pass there, or like Dumfries, Sanchez know that Dumfries will go into there. Like, those type of movements that were already within the team are still part of the team. But Inzaghi just added that extra bit where it's like, like giving you a bit of freedom, like you can make a decision. And he talked about that in the interview, but they didn't put it in that in the article there. But he says the players have freedom to make their decisions. We as coaches give them options in training, we give them solutions in training, but when they go on the pitch, it's up to them to make the right decision. Whereas with Conte, we know we gave them these three options or these two options of play, and they have to, complete either one of those two. You either go to Lukaku or Lautaro, or you try to, do those memorized plays from the back, and that's Conte's football, and is very effective. And it is nice. I liked Conte's football, but this is definitely the. Oh, sorry, was I not sharing the? Oh, wait. Sorry, guys. maybe stopping me from showing you guys. Let me try to share it again. I'm sure it should be showing you now. It should be sharing you the screen now. So as I was, can you see that, guys? I'm gonna stop sharing it again to see if I'm just testing if you actually can see this. Did that work? Could you see the screen share the video? Yeah, sorry. I think it blocked my it might be blocking the video because sometimes it blocks when you try to share serial videos. Oh, you can see it. Nice. Okay. So maybe I just pressed the wrong page in terms of what to share. Right. So let's do it. Let's do it again. So let's take it back from the start. So you see here, as I said, so this is the back three. This is not my video, guys. Credit to the Simone Contran 10 on Twitter. So Skriniar, De Vrij, Bastoni. Now watch, Bastoni is going to go out of the picture completely. And this is Brozovic and Hakan. They're going to be the deepest players in a minute. So this is the fluidity. So look, Brozovic is here. Vidal is here. So the midfielders are right here. Yeah, Hakan is going to come deep again. As I said, Torino are pressing high, but not like, they're not pressing Handanovic, but he's waiting. He wants them to, he's waiting for the trigger so they can try to play out from the back, but they're going to have to go long because Torino's positioning is very good. But yeah, so Brozovic, Vidal, right, and Hakan, look at this. They're being the three centre backs at the minute with De Vrij, and there's a 5v5 created. Look where Skriniar is. And now in a minute, boom, ping from Handanovic, good ball out to Perisic, wins the header. And look, Bastoni's up here. And yeah, he doesn't know what to do. He should have passed to Dumfries there. So that is the perfect representation of what we were talking about, that rotational, that fluidity. Beautiful, beautiful football. Yeah, I'm really, really happy that people are making those types of videos because you can really see it. And then, of course, the same thing happened when we that goal we scored against Roma. Remember, Bastoni being in the opposition box and combining with Hakan and Correa and Dzeko for that goal to happen. But of course, we'll see when we face the bigger teams. Is it that effective, or will we be punished by it? But as I said, when you talk about it, it's like, oh, centre back as being in attacking position means that you're exposed. Maybe yes, if they're in super quick on the counter attack. But as I said, it doesn't mean that they're leaving the defense completely exposed. Is that they're going, but someone else is stepping into their position. So it's not kamikaze football. It's just a rotation of position, which is really nice. Total football, as maybe you could call it. Gabriel says Inzaghi in Inter's like Pep situation when he took Bayern. Heikens did a great job before, and that helped give Pep his touch to the team. Yeah, but I think the thing with the Heikens to Pep is the fact that Heikens actually won a treble before Pep came, whereas Pep wasn't as successful trophy-wise with Bayern. Whereas Inzaghi's potential to improve on what Conte did, because Conte just had the one trophy. So yeah, I see what you mean in terms of being able to bring something different to the style of play. But I lived in Munich, and people weren't particularly overly sold on Pep's football over there. And actually, that was the year that I lived. Oh, sorry, the year that I lived in Munich was the year that Pep was at Bayern. And I remember Bayern fans weren't too impressed with Pep at that time. So Pep does try to bring in lots of interesting ideas and stuff, but a lot of the time, the football, like when I watch Man City, it's nice to watch, but I don't think his teams are the most exciting to watch. Like Man City, a lot of times when I tune into Man City matches, I wouldn't say they're great to watch. Whereas when I watch Inter, I feel like we're a really good team to watch this season. But again, I deviated from your point. I know what you're trying to say. Do you think we were a little bit struggle against a high press opponent? Every team, bro, guys. Like that's why teams press high, because that's the whole point, that you're trying to reduce the time on the ball. You're trying to force the player to make the decision quickly as possible. You're trying to get them to make a mistake, because if you have less time to make a decision, you're panicking, or you're forced to make a decision. You might make the wrong decision, or you might get the technique on it wrong. That's a weakness of it. That's why nowadays most teams try to play high pressing football. But that instance is one of the ways that you can counter it. But you have to have a Perisic or a Dzeko on the pitch to win those high balls. Like you can bypass the press. But that's why we need, that's why Conte used Lukaku so much. That's why Dzeko is still so important to this team. You need that out ball, you need that outlet to bypass the press if you're not able to play out from the back. But yeah, it's definitely a weakness, but I think it's a weakness for many teams, especially when you're talking about the teams that are really good at pressing. Like, we'll see against Liverpool, they're probably the best team in the world at high pressing, at intense pressing. So we'll see how we cope with that. And then the last thing I wanted to cover, guys, it's the Dimarco. Dimarco has signed on up until 2026. Congratulations, and I'm very happy for Dimarco to have signed. And as we mentioned at the beginning, I'm not sure why he's not really seemed to have much of a fan base. He seems to, more than I expected, split opinion, which I just think he's a solid backup. Actually, I had more expectation from Dimarco this season. I thought, not because I rate him more than Perisic, but I just thought because it's Perisic's last season in terms of his expiring contract, and Dimarco coming in with the hunger of being, Interista all his life and wanting to take that starting spot, that he would be able to take the starting spot at some point. But I think definitely Perisic is the starting left wing, but there's no doubt. And I think Inzaghi seems to rate him or play him more as a left centre back anyway. But yeah, yesterday put pen to paper on a new deal that will keep him at the club until at least 2026. And yeah, as we know, the guy supported Inter since he was young. He says he used to go into the Curva Nord when he was younger. He grew up in Milan. He's a local, which is always, a nice, relatable story for fans of a club. And he said, I'm happy to have renewed with the colours of my heart. A special thanks to the club for the trust, to my teammates, and to the fans who show me great affection every day. He spent 18 months alone at Hellas Verona under Ivan Juric and made him significantly more mature and positionally aware footballer. It's true. Since returning to Inter, he has shown to Inzaghi that he can be part of the squad. It can be effective in more than one position. Exactly. And quickly, I want to get his stats up from FBref this season. Dimarco, he has 2 goals and 2 assists until now, which is not bad at all in 18 Serie A appearances, and probably half of them are as substitute. Nothing in the Champions League as of yet. But his underlying stats are really, really good. And these are compared to other centre backs. So even FBref is putting him as a centre back rather than a fullback. But he's ranking really, really well in a lot of stats. In goals, 0.24, assist exact same, in the 99th percentile. So he's in the top bracket when it comes to assists made per 90 in centre backs or defenders. XG as well, 0.29. He's in the top 1%. Expected assist as well, 0.34. Passes completed, passes attempted. Like, we know the guy is technically, he's like almost having the midfielder at the back. The guy, very, very technical, very technically sound. Short passes, these are like, midfielder type numbers. These are really interesting passes into the penalty area, 1.83. Again, he's one of the best in the top 1% for that. Crosses into the penalty area, progressive passes. It's similar to Sanchez in terms of, like, he doesn't have that many minutes. So it's probably why per 90 the numbers are a little bit skewed, because he doesn't usually complete that many 90 minutes. But when he's compared to other centre backs around, this is compared to other Serie A centre backs, by the way, he's ranking super high. Low passes, high passes, passes completed. And look at his shot creating actions per 90 minutes, 5.24. That is really high. So every match, there's 5 shots that are created from either his corner, set piece, or cross or pass. Like he's a very he's an effective player for sure whenever he plays. And yeah, defensive wise, his numbers don't look too great. But again, it's when you're playing for a team like Inter, even if I get Skriniar or De Vrij numbers, I'm guessing they won't be too impressive because they don't have to engage as much when you play for a team like Inter. Oh, he's ranking quite high for passes blocked, which is good positional awareness from him. 0.49 dribbles attempted. Yeah, this is probably his weakness because even though he's quite small, he's not a very good dribbler. Carries into the final third. That's really good. That's very important. Progressive carries. He always carries the ball out from the back, which is really important. But yeah, I'm happy about this signing. I'm happy that Dimarco has signed on again. What do you guys think? Keston doesn't really fancy Dimarco. Needs to prove. Yeah, he definitely needs to prove himself. But whilst we have Perisic, he still has time to do that. Dimarco is a little inconsistent, anxious on the pitch, but he has room to improve. Yeah, I could agree with that. But I think it's just nice to see finally he's the one Primavera that has finally made it into the first team, hasn't he? Like properly. I like Dimarco a lot. Perisic is just so hard to compete. Exactly. It's just like you can't compete with Perisic right now. And I didn't expect Perisic to be at this high level, this consistently. Got to go. Take care, guys. Yeah, no worries, Bjorn. Thank you for joining me. It's quite nice that we have a couple of Inter fans playing for the club. Dimarco, Barella, Bastoni. Yeah, exactly. That is nice. I mean, it adds nothing really in terms of objectively, but I think for fans, it's very relatable seeing those types of players that used to support Inter like us as youngsters, and maybe have a little bit more attachment to the club in maybe long term staying at the club. But as we know these days, probably doesn't make too much of a difference. But it is nice to see, and that's why where as soon as this like Berardi always used to be linked with Inter because he was an Inter fan. Now Raspadori is linked to Inter because he's a big Inter fan. So we might see more, especially with the Italian guys. And yeah, then finally a couple of other interesting quotes I saw in the media was one from former Inter defender Riccardo Ferri, who's an Inter legend. He says, well, we've been saying, I have never seen such a beautiful Inter. It is better than last year's. And that's the one thing that we can agree on, whether you think this is Inter's better or not. And of course, this is also subjective as well, if you prefer this Inter style of play or not. But as Ricardo says here, since I started playing, I've never seen such a beautiful expression of a team that gives continuity in the games, in the results, as this Inzaghi team. And then, yeah, he's talked about the dominance of Inter and Inter ending Juventus' dominance last year. But he says, ironically, this Inter is even better than last year. So that's an interesting quote. And then the last quote I wanted to share was from Borja Valero, former Inter player, only a couple of years back. Master Roshi, who spoke, he's an analyst now on DAZN, I believe. He says Inter remain the Scudetto favourites. He says we had it from the beginning. They lost very important names, but the management work was enormous. Thanks to this, they remain favourites for the Scudetto. In addition, they are reigning champions, so it is inevitable to fight for that goal. And the work that Borja is talking about refers to the decisions by Marotta, by Ausilio, who quickly replaced Conte with Inzaghi and the other ones that we know. So, yeah, nothing new there, but I just wanted to share some positive words around the media. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. 1 hour, 4 minutes of a stream, sharing the latest news. Hope you guys enjoyed, talking Inzaghi ball, talking the Skriniar interview, Dimarco's new contract. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, we didn't get to talk about the transfer market news, kind of overran, but over the next few days, I promise I will be doing more streams so we can get into more transfer market news stuff. I'll probably try to make an actual video on the guys that we're strongly linked with, or you guys really seem to want to talk about, like Frattesi. I know a lot of you guys keep asking me about Frattesi, so I might make a video just specifically on Frattesi, Nandes, these guys that we linked with in midfield, Scamacca as well, all that kind of stuff. So I'll probably try to make a transfer market only type of video. Of course, we'll do a half season review video for sure as well. We'll do like a half season awards, maybe we'll do something like that. Because Anthony from Inter Worldwide, he wants to do a tier video for the half season. So I don't want to have both videos on both channels. So I'll do something a little bit different on my channel. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy your holidays. Yeah, thank you, Nick Knox. Happy holidays to you too, everyone. If you celebrate or don't celebrate, hope you have good holidays. You should see me before the New Year's. As I said, I'm gonna try to keep making videos. If there's any breaking news, I'll try to make videos on it. If there's any news about the Brozovic contract or Perisic contract, I'll let you guys know for sure. But they are on a break, so I don't expect any particular news to come out in this period. So I think it will be transfer market related videos. Yeah, that's the issue I have with Dimarco as well. I don't like him. No, I like him, but conceptually having such a small centre back just doesn't bode well. Like, it doesn't sit well with me in my head. Happy holidays, everyone. Yes, that's yeah, thank you everyone for joining me. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Yeah, and of course, guys, if you enjoy the stream, make sure you leave a thumbs up. Hope you're enjoying back to the normal setup. We're back, with the laptop, being able to share the screen with you guys, all that kind of good stuff. And yeah, you should expect this quality, an improvement of quality, hopefully soon. As I said, I'll be getting a webcam. I'll be trying to improve the quality on the channel, thanks to your support and of course the channel member support. Thank you everyone for joining. Ciao ragazzi, Forza Inter.